Hey guys, Kevin Cage here. Let's get right into it. So just to kick things off on Ripple's website, and I will be addressing some trade volume, XRP ledger volume at the end of this video and add a little speculation for fun at the end. I want to show this. So on Ripple's new updated website, and of course this is the old stuff, but we've successfully crossed over 58 million, almost 59 million ledgers successfully closed without issue since the inception of the XRP ledger. Never a mistake, established in 2012. And notice this, XRP's 7-year track record of stable tech and governance makes it ready for institutional and enterprise use. Understand this. We have no 51% attacks. That doesn't happen. We don't have any issues ever. Not like Bitcoin. You cannot take over the network via hardware. We've never experienced, an actual like DDoS attack at scale. All of this is proving itself worthy of technology to be adopted by banks, FIs, MTOs, you name it. And just understand that banks are, by nature, extremely conservative. Funny enough, many of them have trialed, whether it's RippleNet or even XRP with proof of concepts. I think this is substantial. If you guys think that is complete, too much speculation, so be it. We have Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple at the Economic Club of New York meeting with presidents, BIS. They're highly connected. Whether it is just educating and consultant-like purposes, you have to understand that there is something more there that a lot of us are missing. All right. Next, we know that their customers are 300 plus financial institutions directly, we know, and we'll talk about Temenos as well. 40 plus countries, and then we've also, shared by Status, reached 500 employees. Now, if you saw the video I did yesterday, I just put out a bunch of bullet points trying to get people to see this. And right here, we know TAS, the heart of the European Real-Time Gross Settlement Network. We know Temenos is also at Sibos for Swift's event. They have 3,000 customers right there. We have the T24 stack and the Bluesale Altitude Gateway that integrates RippleNet, and they have 41 of the world's top 50 banks right there, 500 million customers. So yes, Temenos is a big global banking software. Should be no surprise. We can talk about RippleNet integrated with Finastra, which is another 9,000 customers right there. Very exciting. So whether you believe it's 300 financial institutions, I think that value can increase substantially. And even with Lemonway, like Chris Larson said, every single new partner or network node operator on the system creates a variety of new endpoints, just like combinations in math. So it's much more than just one partner. Think of the combinations that you can create in Rails between these partners. Alrighty, and we talked about that. Now, right here, just wanted to share this. Martin Volk. So crypto markets plunged $10 billion as Trump ends pandemic relief talks. A lot of volatility on the way. I know many people expect pumps during the election, but we will simply see. Just sharing this information. All right. Next, so Galgatron pointing this out. So remember, guys, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority out of the UK, is favorable towards XRP, in my opinion. As we know, back in the day, this was in 2019, XRP was deemed by them to have non-security attributes by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority based out of the UK. We also know if it's not a security, it's typically going to be a commodity. Maybe they'll make some new type of classification as a utility token or something like that. But very exciting to have that backing and actual clarity from the UK. I wish that we would get this clarity from either Jay Clayton or the current, CFTC chairman. But who knows? It might just be a big act. Maybe people are just dragging their feet. All the world is a stage for sure. All right. And remember, right in the UK, we also have London. Ripple has an office there. There's talks of them, kind of threatening and trying to force a hand to leave the country and go to a friendlier jurisdiction for their headquarters. So whether that is in London, whether it's Switzerland, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Japan, Singapore, Malta, it really makes you wonder what's going on. And if I haven't said this already, I may have, but R3 has an office in London. Wink, wink. All right, now notice the FCA ban of crypto derivatives is actually a good thing for cryptocurrency. It eliminates the value diluting, artificial inflation, scammy, false crypto products. So that way, by weakening demand for that garbage, it's actually going to drive demand towards the real stuff that's here to stay in solving problems. Make sense? We want to redirect that demand towards true projects. So if regulations do come and actually hammer down thousands of projects that are completely just similar to ICOs, fake and very short and brief, just scammy, white papers, things like that nature. You have to understand that all of that fake value, even if it is just wash trading for the most part, all that value or that demand will be redirected towards the legitimate assets. So if you're diversified among great assets, we are in early days. So stay strong. Okay, let's talk about the FCA. Quote from Brian Brooks shared by Status, his website status.hr, definitely recommended if you want to see some Ripple infographics. So right here at the Chamber of Digital Commerce, two sides of the American coin, innovation and regulation of digital assets, and this is, this month. So we have a strong interest in trying to envision a medium-term future, not a tomorrow future where people are speculating on Bitcoin price movements, but a medium-term future where these blockchain networks, these DLT networks, are basically the internet of finance, coming from the man from Coinbase, and now he's in charge of the US banking system. I think this speaks volumes, and those that, are mature and do your research, you understand what's at hand here. All right, so in other news, I know some of you have seen this, and I do want to address this. So we know IBM's connection with obviously Stellar and WorldWire, but I want to talk about this because this is another use case of actual DLT. So right in Thailand, remember, we have a new corridor with Ripple there, the Thai bot, and through the UK as well. Their central bank issued $1.6 billion, I believe dollars, worth of government bonds on IBM blockchain. So right here, the central bank's blockchain-based platform was launched only 2 weeks ago, and it helps reduce the time and cost of issuing bonds. So bond issuance reminds me of things that Securitize is working on as well. So previously, remember Securitize has investments from Coinbase and Ripple. Previously, the issuance process took 15 days. That's insane. And now it just takes 2 days here. And I guarantee that in due time, this whole process is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Just like Securitize can essentially help companies tokenize anything. I remember Tony from Thinking Crypto did a really cool video, and he's talking to a gentleman and just talking about even tokenizing yourself as an asset. Really interesting concepts. It might be funny now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that in the future. As for the cost, IBM said all parties, issuers, underwriters, and registrars benefit as blockchains reduces operating and reconciliation costs. Interesting. Also, in terms of reconciliation, remember, this month we have Spunta. So I know that has nothing to do with settlements, but yes, R3 is involved. All right, necessary steps. Reconciliation, who owes who, kind of the clearing process of this. So the blockchain-based platform acts as a real-time single source of truth for network participants. They all have the same version of truth. There's no manipulation. They have the same copy of data on the ledger, which minimizes the redundant validation, redundant, again, just time wasters, and reduces the costs of reconciliation. Very, very exciting, okay? Notice even right here, Siam Commercial Bank participated in this, and they are RippleNet. So again, they're going to be banks, all these FIs, everybody around the globe is trying to interoperate, future-proof, and work together. So it's not like they're married to any one network. They want efficiency. They want to reduce capital costs. It's the same thing that any business wants to do. They want to improve their bottom line. So just understand that they're not married to Ripple. They're not married to IBM. They're not married to anything. They're going to use a variety of assets, a variety of blockchain networks to get the job done, both private and open. Okay, so we'll keep going. Next, so we're at the Kahneman sharing this. So we know Signum, based out of Switzerland, funny enough, one of the countries we mentioned that has a friendly jurisdiction for Chris Larson. And Signum, remember, they recently added XRP to their offerings. And this is a digital asset bank you could think about, and to their offering. And now they've actually joined SBI Holdings. Remember, SBI is a behemoth. Also, SBI owns a big share in both R3 and Ripple, to create a venture fund for digital asset related companies. Why are all these acquisitions happening? Why you really think that XRP and great assets that are solving real problems are going to disappear? No, the price you see is a lie. Those that are patient and can keep fighting through the storm are going to win, in my opinion, not financial advice. So the fund will tokenize its fund interests to bridge investors. Interesting. So you can go right here and just feel free to read the press release. I had to translate it just with the Google Translate from Japanese, but very exciting nonetheless. Even right here, another report by KPMG. All right. Next, I want to show you this clip. So this is shared by Status. Ripple is helping build the internet of value by using DLT. The world is now able to move value or money without a central operator. It's going to be based upon trust. That is really the solution of the problem of siloed payment networks. Every single payment network is siloed, it's closed off, it cannot communicate effectively with others. And things like even ISO standards are going to be very, very interesting. And yes, I know that Swift is talking about this day in and day out. And remember, Ripple, the only DLT group or DLT focused group thus far, has joined their standards body. Interesting. And we have a variety of people I don't care for, if you guys think conspiratorial or not, a variety of people are saying, yes, what Ripple is doing, and Ripple will be taking over Swift eventually, whether you think they're going to disrupt them or enable them, or essentially just RippleNet, the software, will replace it altogether, or they'll do some type of white label option. I just think wholeheartedly every single ODL rail that is laid is critical. And I want to go over that. And I also want to talk about some FUD at the end, because I feel every single day when an article comes out or Chris Larson says something, the article will be titled, something with, it'll basically get people to click it. And that's the bottom line. They want clicks. And people will read the title, they'll think XRP is a scam, or they'll think XRP is going to the moon tomorrow. And it's all just working on your emotions. So I kind of want to talk about that too. So listen up right here.
I'm Chris Larson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ripple Labs. Ripple Labs is a financial technology company. We're helping build what we refer to as the Internet of Value. And we're using distributed ledger technology to do that. What's so special about distributed ledgers? Well, it's really the first time the world has been able to move value or money without a central operator. That is really the solution to the problem of siloed payment or money networks. What we're trying to do is build new rails so that the world can move value like we've been moving information for the last 20 years.
And so remember, for all of this, we need more rails built. We need deepening or a deepening of liquidity. We need more buyers and sellers at a variety of price points, and a lot of them at each price point. So depth of liquidity, depth of order books that you can see on public exchanges for now, and even ODL corridors. And RippleX, of course, formerly Spring, is building some great things. Dev kits, all of that. We have Flare, which is helping solve potentially the blockchain trilemma. Some people could believe that XRP might have certain things. This is my conspiratorial view. I think that XRP, or maybe David Schwartz, Arthur Brito, they may have found certain things to kind of solve potentially the blockchain trilemma. We'll simply see. Of course, it's interesting that PolySign and things of that nature often have that same look of the trilemma. If you guys know what I'm talking about, the actual symbol and logo. Very interesting. And bottom line is this: every single day, I am more excited for the future of XRP. We see and we understand that on-demand liquidity is setting the foundation for this.
So immediately we think having interconnectedness of networks rather than siloed networks means that somebody who's now in a country with very limited access, maybe is solely dependent on a local network that is expensive and maybe has poor service and inclusion, can now get access to any other provider anywhere in the world. At the same time, the biggest corporations involved in global trade also see huge impact, because now they don't have to sort of tie up the billions and billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, simply because they have to work around the delays and the cost and the uncertainty of where money and liquidity needs to be where they need it.
And if you guys I was watching the Sibos event today. I was just recatching all the clips and stuff talking about Sibos, Swift's annual event, and just saying that even international payments using the magic number of 10 are often 10 times more expensive, typically 10 times longer to get to their destination. I do not comprehend anybody that does not see the value add of XRP today. And if they don't, it's because they don't understand what it means to develop liquidity over time, and what they don't comprehend that they have to build all of this infrastructure to get to that point. All right.
I think we're in a really interesting period right now, because the world now knows how to do something it just couldn't do before, which is confirm value transfer without a central operator.
Yep, and this will be knocking down a lot of the tier 1 players and, so to speak, leveling the playing field. And per the recent interview of Chris Larson that I'm sure you guys have seen at the Blockchain Summit, he said that approximately $2 billion worth of XRP have been sent through on-demand liquidity thus far. Some people will be like, oh, that's not much in the scheme of things. Absolutely. And that means there's plenty of opportunity and plenty of friction still to remove from the system. Understand that a lot of the wash trading, or a lot of the trading volume you see, whether it's on the ledger or payment volume, is fake. It's just exchanges moving money around and trading bots. This is all fake. There's wash trading and a variety of other tactics that will basically inflate the volume that we see, even when you're looking at figures on, say, coinmarketcap.com. The value you see, and this is like the most bullish reason, the value you see is not the future value. Please understand that we are in such an uncertain landscape right now, and with that comes risk, and with risk comes opportunity. All right? So right here, Martin Volk sharing this, pretty interesting. Samsung adds an anti-money laundering feature to its cryptocurrency wallets, AML. Funny enough, I did take a poll the other day for people's choice of phone, just anyone that is in the crypto, Twitter world. And I was curious of what their preferences were, because of course there are security standpoints, there's, application benefits for each one, their preferences. And notice Apple won 56%, Android 43%. So almost 50-50 split. So really interesting there. And per the article, it's just showing that Samsung has integrated a crypto asset AML solution to help boost the security of its blockchain wallet. People have to understand, before there's mainstream adoption from retailers, institutions, we need secure functionality. If your assets were lost, and imagine Samsung losing some users, $1,000, $50,000, that would make a bad name for crypto. The masses, the sheep, would be afraid to move to the next step. So obviously, all of this has to be in line. We need regulations, we need security, we need just like things that PolySign are working on are really interesting. And obviously for an institutional grade custody level and enterprise use, there's just so much that has to be built for this new internet of value to come upon us. And just understand, 2020 has been the craziest year of developments that I have ever seen. And of course, I would love nothing more for the price to finally kick into gear right now. But in terms of what we are seeing on a daily basis, I have no reason to worry. All right. So let's talk about some of the fun stuff. So right here, I already talked about that. So we know Swift today, they handle essentially $5 trillion per day, or given about 250 business days per year, $1.25 quadrillion, aka a lot of zeros. Now, with obviously DLT and smart contract automation, we understand that we don't need intermediaries. Everything can be truly automated. It'll be more efficient, faster, based on trust. Well, we have to understand, money will probably move eventually 365 24/7. So instead of just business days, or imagine not being able to send an email on a holiday or a weekend. Value is going to be moving on weekends. It will be moving on holidays. It'll all be automated in the future. So we have to understand that this value can change. And remember, with Jevons paradox, when we improve that, we'd think that, okay, well, instead of 5 trillion a day with 250 days, if we can move money 365 in the future correspondent banking network, we probably won't need all that. And the funny thing is, Jevons paradox is another example in economics where we think that it might be way less than this per day and there'd be a trade-off. What if Jevons paradox takes place in the 5 trillion stays, or it's even more because of now capital efficiency? The working capital can move around. Can you imagine that? And so just for fun, for speculation, yes, I'm aware of current, XRP supply. We understand that placed in escrow is this amount. You can always check this on ripple.com/XRP/market-performance. We can see the total held by Ripple. We understand there's 150 plus validators in the network. Top-down approach, just like the internet, starts off centralized and they distribute it over time in a smart way to make sure that the value is maintained over the network and it is actually set to grow in the future. All right, now we understand Swift, 5 trillion, yes, with all the inflation, maybe it could be a tad more than that. Regardless, we talked about the trade-off in Jevons paradox, and for fun, so we're doing what? We've done $2 billion only through on-demand liquidity, so $2 billion of XRP has been used by these FIs and Ripple partners. Can you imagine when we're at the point where we're scaling to the point of, say, $2 billion per month, or $2 billion per week, and then eventually $2 billion per day flowing? And for example, $2 billion per day, and say if we did just use the 250 business days, that's 500 billion a year. But what if it was 365 and institutions could do this all the time? Then it would be 2 billion times 365. But would that 2 billion, would there be a trade-off and it'd be less? Or would Jevons paradox take root and we'd maintain that same value, if not even grow it? It's really, really crazy to think about. And yes, it is speculation. You guys can call it hopium, whatever, but I'm just saying if this happens, this would happen. And we can speculate there's going to be multiplier effects because we're aware of the XRP supply right now. We hold a portion. There's, an amount locked in escrow. And just understand, the true circulating supply that we've shown is closer to 10 billion XRP or lower. So that is a massive multiplier effect when utility truly scales up. And that is, that's not even hopium, that's just fact. You can look at, and we've already kind of guesstimated the range of circulating supply. Some people have shown that it's even closer to 5 or 7 billion, if not lower. So for this example, just pretend it's 10 billion. And yes, it can, the circulating supply will increase over time as well, but they want the value to grow as well. All right. So say what? $2 billion, $2 billion. What if it was per hour? And maybe we do 8 hours per day times 250 days, or you could do 2 billion times 24 hours in a day, 24/7 times 365. That would be absolutely insane. Whether it's 4 trillion per year or even, what is that? Like 8.7 trillion a year. with the 365 24 hours a day. That is absolutely crazy, and you have to understand there's a variety of other use cases that can drive this network with Flare, with collateralizing XRP. We are just getting started. Of course, we hear more and more about RippleNet lending and obviously adding a variety or more demand for XRP because you're creating interest out of thin air. And you guys can keep an eye on the metrics, just understand, I mean, for the most part, all of this, the trade volume is a lot more speculative right now, and we're going to be watching the ledger volume overall. We're going to watch these numbers. If one of them flip-flops in terms of dominance, this is very, very important to watch. This is on xrpcharts.ripple.com. Right? And as I've said, the majority of these markets, all this volume is fake for now. It is wash trading, period. And there's a variety of other tactics, as I've already said. And I just want to emphasize, when utility truly starts ramping up, because there is utility on XRP right now today, but of course we want that true utility that will drive value as well. It's going to be a very, very different future. I think we're going to look back and laugh at these price points as well. All right. And let me see if there's anything else. I mean, just the biggest emphasis I can do is everything that I'm retweeting about, everything I'm talking about, even if it's not directly XRP, this has a rippling effect across the global financial system. No pun intended. Every single piece of news regarding digitization, operational efficiencies, DLT usage, or just new system improvements in payments specifically has a rippling effect because it's bettering the infrastructure, it's growing competition, it's innovative, and it's going to get more attention, turning more heads around the globe, and they are going to be more competitive. And that is the idea. And I think payments in the future, as crazy as this sounds, I think that payments, if DLT is one of the main drivers in the future and succeeds in terms of financial inclusion, will allow payments to basically go towards near zero, meaning the fees are driven to be as cheap as possible rather than the fees today that are experienced. And it's way beyond just remittance. It is getting rid of all these parasites, these intermediaries, to make the world a more efficient and better place for all of us. This is why I'm hedging my portfolio heavily with a variety of crypto assets and precious metals, because I just don't see the dollar being the best investment right now. All right, guys, enough of me ranting. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you got something valuable out of this video. Please let me know down below your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.